Hey, good morning. Greg Flanagan here from Fridays with Flanagan. We want to welcome to another Fridays with Flanagan. Every Friday at 11:30. Probably not next Friday because I think it's Thanksgiving, right, or the Friday after, but we'll discuss that later. Every Friday 11:30, 11 o'clock, we come online and we're going to talk about a topic. And one of those topics I want to talk about is mindset of a real estate agent. Better yet, mindset of people in general. And it's very important to any success in life. Okay. For years, let me tell you a little story about myself. Most of you know that prior to my real estate career and prior to moving to South Carolina, I was the New York State Department of Corrections lieutenant, right? Worked in prisons, some of the worst prisons you wanted to see. I've got stories that can write a book that will just make your hair stand on end. And along with that prison experience came an attitude in my head, and it was stinking thinking pretty much. I mean, I always was a bright guy. I always wanted new and interesting information coming in to help build my personal growth. It's just that experience kind of stunted that a little bit. Stunted it probably for 20 something years, and it didn't do me any favors. Honestly, it didn't do me any favors. It brought me down. You know, I was in a place in my life. It was like I know what I know, and I don't need to know anymore. And that just cuts off all the learning that can come in and actually help us move on. Uh, I came down here to South Carolina. I was still hard. My mind was hard. Everything I said was hard. I didn't care what the other person said. I really didn't want to listen to you if you didn't agree with me. And that's a real tough thing to put up with. Was I a likable guy? Some people like me. Obviously, somebody liked me. She's been with me for 37 years. Um, but, you know, was I a likable guy? I don't think so. Looking back over it, my viewpoint started to change a little bit. I've told the story before about Adam Roach and meeting Adam for the first time, actually somewhere in a 3-year conversation of recruiting me to a brokerage. And he challenged me to say, look at yourself. Look at yourself. Are you reading books? Are you bringing in new information? Are you just listening to your own mind? Are your thoughts just, are they telling you the same thing over and over? There was nothing new coming in that would change Greg Flanagan. And finally there was this confrontation that said, hey, I mean, he's pretty much slapped me upside my head. And it said, hey, you're a good guy. You got a big heart. You want to help people. The only person you're not helping is yourself. And that was like an aha moment. The only person I wasn't helping was myself. And believe me, this has to do with real estate. It has to do with life. It has to do with relationships. It has to do with everything we do, right? We've got to help ourselves first. And the way I helped myself was I began reading. I started out with a few simple books, The Alchemist, The Four Agreements, things that just little parables. I wasn't a big reader. I'll be honest with you, to this day, I'm not. I'd rather hear it through Audible. I'd rather listen to it from a stage. You put me in front of somebody that's speaking to me, and I will probably retain 70 to 80%. You let me read a book page by page, I'll be sleeping 70 to 80%. So I am a very audible, whatever you want to call that word, uh, learner. And learn I did. And as I learned, I grew. Um, and I challenge everybody to do this if you're having that problem with your mindset. The mindset of I can't, I don't want to learn anything. I am who I am. They got to accept me the way I am. My relationships are fine. I really don't want to make them any better. My sales, you know what? They are what they are. People don't like me. The heck with it. It's not that people don't like you. Maybe you just don't like yourself right now. I don't want to say that, but let's look at mindset. You know, I consider myself a hard ass, a very hard ass. And you couldn't get a word in edgewise. I wouldn't listen. I was a very bad listener actually, and I've learned nowadays to talk less and listen more, because when I listen more, I learn more, and that's real important, especially in sales. Right? We have to listen. We have to listen to what the needs and the wants of our clients are, or our prospects. And without that listening strategy, we, we fall flat. We fall flat as far as sales are concerned. So practice your listening. Get some active listening. We call it active listening, and it's when you're actually sitting there and you are not worried about what your answer is going to be. You're listening for what they are telling you and what their needs are, right? I think Zig Ziglar, talking about listening, Zig Ziglar said the most, when everybody's got one sign across their chest and it says, "I'm important." And the more we listen, the more we understand what's important to that person and what makes them feel important. And we sell on emotion, and that's important. So if you are in a conversation with anybody, not only a prospect, but listen a little bit closer, calm down and take everything in, structure your answer, and answer. Okay. One of the other things I found with my when somebody wrongs me, if you know what these are, if you've taken any kind of assessments, I'm a high D, I'm a number 8, I don't even know what the Myers-Briggs is. You will not take advantage of me. And this for years was my defense. You will not take advantage of me. And I would get extremely highly emotional and push back and push back. And I remember a few years back in a brokerage I was at, I had helped this couple build a house for a year, right? I went through, they were in Jersey or Pennsylvania somewhere, and I went down and I did all the site work and all the inspections and everything that they needed to do. I did it. And it was very expensive. It was probably $500,000 house, so it was probably a $15,000 commission. And 3 weeks before we were to close, they decided they didn't want to buy the house. Well, I felt I would still do my commission. My broker really didn't want to back me up. Oh no, we don't want to get that kind of name on our website. And I was adamant. I was furious. I was up the wall and crawling through. And I mean, I'm ready to rip somebody's head off. And I had to go back in and apologize because I did leave the room. The following week, I was still steaming. The following week, I'm talking to my coach, and I explained the situation. And he said, "How does it feel?" And I explained it. Anger and anger, mostly anger, being taken advantage of. What was that all about? And he turned to me, he goes, "Anything you can do about it?" I said, "I don't think it's, I'm still angry. He's getting that. He's pushing the button, and I'm starting to crank up." And he goes, "Well, that's the way that felt. Get over it." Another slap across my head. Get over it. There's nothing you can do about it. Why linger on the fact that happened? It was unfortunate. You had your moment in the sun. You were angry, but it was the past. There's nothing you're going to do. Now learn from it and don't let it happen again. That's another whole story, right? Don't drag the past. Don't drag the baggage with you. You've heard it 100 times, a million times. Leave your baggage in the past. It makes you a better person every day. And that mindset is looking forward, right? You're getting a little bit more optimistic of what you're doing. How did I find out what I was, who I was? Everybody talks about assessments. The DISC assessment, I think they call it the Enneagram assessment, the Myers-Briggs assessment. It's a great way, if you're honest with these assessments, it's a great way to see how your life is going. It shows you where your stress is and where your strengths are. One of the best ones I think I've done over the past 2 years is a Gallup assessment. And the Gallup is, you might call it Strength Finders. The Gallup assessment and the whole principle behind the Gallup, from what I gather, is to, instead of highlighting your weaknesses and improving your weaknesses, is to dive into your strengths. What are your top 5 strengths? How do you use those? How do you take advantage of those and use them to help you get where you need to be, help you get a better marriage, help you get more sales, help any of it. And that's important. So if you're looking for one, I think the disc is a great one, but I think the Gallup is even better. Okay? So look for that Gallup. I think it's called Gallup Strengths Finder. Get to know yourself better. And then your sales will start. You'll see it gets a little easier. I like to say, years ago, I was talking to somebody in a mastermind, and I said, when we live in our own voice, life gets much easier. What does that mean? It means that when we're talking from the heart, when we're thinking from our perspective, nobody else's, our perspective, our words get better, our attitude gets better, people like us for who we are. Not everybody's going to like us, and we got to be, that's fine. Not everybody likes us. I don't have a problem with that. But talk in your own voice. Talk in your own voice. Learn to live with who you are and improve upon that. Improve upon that. Sorry, I just got, thank you for putting that link up there. Get to know yourself. Ask questions. How do we do that? We ask questions. We listen better. I think masterminds in and of themselves is a great way to improve who you are. When you sit down with a group of people, you've all heard the expression, you are the average of the 5 people that you associate with. And it's true. So if you're sitting down with 4 other people, don't be the smartest person in the room. You want to learn. And when you put that mastermind together, the mastermind builds a bigger mind. And listen to what people have to say. One of the 4 agreements is don't take anything personal. And it's helped me quite a bit. Don't take anything personal. I care what you say, but it's your opinion. Now, if it resonates with me while we're having a conversation, well, then I do have to care. You're showing me where I should be, and I love nothing more personally. I love nothing more than somebody saying, "Hey, Greg, you know what? I think I see a blind spot in your character. I think I see a blind spot in your, a flaw, whatever you want to call it. I call it a blind spot. Most people do. I think there's a blind spot. And I'll look at that. And if it is a blind spot, I am going to work to improve that blind spot. Not because that person has to like me. That's fine. It's more for myself, and it makes me feel better. So do something for yourself and get out there and find those blind spots. We're working on that, and that's what Power Onward's about. Okay, Fridays with Flanagan. Of course, we're going to give you a little bit of information. The Power Onward website is chock full of free resources. They're going to be coming online within about 20 days, I think we're down to. It's not only going to talk, it's not only going to give you resources for real estate, forums, how to do things, trainings that we've done. I think we've got some 1-minute videos in there, me just teaching everyday stuff. I think it comes down to, though, the beginning is you have to get to know yourself a lot better. It comes from the I know what I know and I don't need any more to I don't know what I don't know and I want to know more. Okay, that's important to me. Give me all the information. Let me suck this up. Give me a fire hose. That's where we're going with the Power Onward website. If you want to sign up for that, drop your email in the chat. We'll be happy to send you over a link and whatever else. I think we're still giving away the 25 objection handlers, or last week we did a 20 low cost, no cost lead generation ideas. All that'll be in the back of the website for free. That part is free. There are resources for free. All right. How has my mindset changed over the years? Where have I gone? It's amazing. It's amazing. Anybody that knew me prior to 2017, 2016, you know what? I love my beer. I like a lot of beer. And it wasn't every night beer. It was one night and, there wasn't enough beer. In January 1, 2017, I was challenged. We were in a mastermind together. And, I was working through this. And something hit me in the head and said, all right, let's go 2017 with no beer. Wow, that's a big thing for me. That's a big, big thing for me. I love porters. I love beer. I can't get that through your head. The only reason I stopped because I loved it so much. All right, that's kind of where we're at. That was 2017. I've smelled a lot of beers over the last 4 years now, and I never went back. And that was part of my growth, okay, part of that personal growth. All I ask for is the opportunity to come to you every week on this channel here. If there's anything I can do for you to help you on your journey, I would love for you to drop me a private message, a DM, an email. You've got all that information. And anybody got anything for me? It's a short version today. Okay. All right. Good deal. We'll talk to you next week. Go to poweronwardmastermind.com. I'm Greg Flanagan, and I hope this brought some value to today. Have a safe weekend, and we'll see you next week. Or maybe not. Thanksgiving next week? I don't know. We'll find out. Enjoy your day.